What we're going to cover today is how to be the next entrepreneurial or startup success story. So if you've ever wondered what it takes, that's what we're talking about today. I'm here with Fred Carey, a co-founder and executive chairman of IdeaPros. And Fred has so many success stories. We just tapped into 3 of his success stories in a video recently that we put up on YouTube, which you can check out and learn more about him and all of his success stories. But he's definitely qualified to talk to us about startup success. And obviously he's doing this for IdeaPros partners, one after another. So Fred, what do you think it takes to be the next startup success story?
Thank you, Tessa, and everybody who's listening. And first of all, I'm going to have to look at that YouTube video. I haven't seen it.
Maybe you can send You're me the brilliant, link. I promise.
See what I said. Okay, thank you. So it's a journey, and it's a journey that you have to be willing to make. And your journey to success is full of all sorts of twists and turns that people will tell you can't do it. People will tell you your idea isn't great. There are all sorts of roadblocks and obstacles all along the way. And the very first thing that you need in order to have a chance of becoming that next startup success is a belief in yourself. That's the very biggest thing. There are mechanical things I'm going to talk about as well, but believing in yourself is the most important thing that any entrepreneur has for himself or herself. It's right here. It's your heart. And you can have your parents, your friends, your wife, you gotta be careful with the wife, husband, any of those people telling you you're not going to make it, you're not going to do it. You've tried it once. You can see it's not going to happen. You know, was it Thomas Edison took 1,000 tries to invent the light bulb, 1,000. And he was told about how does it feel to fail 999 times? And he said, I didn't. The light bulb was a 1,000-step process. And that's how you need to look at the entrepreneurial process. You have an idea, you think it's a great idea, and you want to follow after it. And that's what you should do. However, you shouldn't be married to that idea, right? Because the whole thing about being successful is taking the knowledge that you get and don't be so full of yourself that you don't want to use that knowledge. We've had a couple of partners who really went kicking and screaming with their initial designs that, you know, I want it this way, I want it this way. And they were just very rigid and would not change their design elements at all. So I suggested new designs. We went and did surveys for both, and of course the new designs hit it out of the park, and the design that the entrepreneur wanted, there's no customer that wanted it. So listen to the potential customer. Don't be afraid to change your ideas when things happen that dictate that. A good example is Quicken. First of all, they had an awful time finding any funding. Nobody would fund them. And then they started becoming successful on their own, and then everybody would fund them when they didn't need the money. But they listened to their customers, and they looked at their data, and they found out that something like 30% of the people who were getting Quicken were using it for their businesses, and it was designed to be a personal item. So QuickBooks came out like an accident, really, and now it's 90% of what they sell is QuickBooks. So listen to everything that takes place on your journey, except the people who say you can't do it. Okay?
I love that. Yes, absolutely. Well, we covered a couple of things. I just wanted to go back over that. So number 1, believe in yourself. Number 2, be flexible in the design of your product because it's going to adapt. You want it to be, in order to be a success, you have to meet the needs of the consumer. So that's an important step in the way. And then you did mention something that was really interesting, though. It is a process. There is a process, and I think that's what's so cool watching you work with entrepreneurs, that you have this process down. So it's flexible, but it's still a process that you can walk people through, and they don't. It's easy to get lost along the way. We'll put it that way. So,
Yeah.
I think that's really um, critical to the path. Now, you mentioned a couple of things too, and you've the amount of time. We talked about this in a side conversation too. So, is there to, you can't forecast obviously how long it would take, or the time involved to get a product to be successful. But in the process of that, is there any suggestions you have for people in the planning process?
Yeah, well, the first thing is throw away your clock. You're interested in a methodology, in a series of tasks that you really need to do one after the other successfully in order to get to the end where you can actually launch and where you can have products that are going to go somewhere, whether it's an app, whether it's a consumer goods product, electronics, whatever it is. Um, Time-wise, though, once you roll up your sleeves and get into the journey, you can really plan on 3 or 4 years easily. One of the good things about working with IdeaPros is because we've done this so many times, and we've kind of really taken every step of the process and really put together a methodical list of tasks and phases that we go through. We can cut that time down to 12 to 18 months. But the point is, when you get to the end, let's suppose it takes us 18 months to get to the end of the rainbow, and we go live with a product. There's no guarantee that that product is going to be a home run right away, and you need to be prepared for that. You need to think, hey, I'm live. I have a website. I have followers. I have a cool product. I'm going to keep pushing. And you push and you push and you push. Next week, I think we're going to have one of our partners on with
Yes.
me that went through this whole process. And he went out selling $5 worth of stuff in a day, and he just kept pushing and pushing and pushing. And now he does about $10,000 a day with his products just on Amazon. So he'll be around next week. But the point is, success comes to those who work for it. Okay, it's not those who wait. It's those who work for it. You got to work for it. You got to get up. I sold $5 yesterday. I'm going to sell $10 today. And you just, sometimes it happens really fast. Sometimes it's really slow. But you got to remember, if your idea is a good one, if your product is a good one, a needed product that consumer surveys say, yeah, we want this. It's just a question of getting to them. And so throw out the clock and focus on the road ahead.
Yes, absolutely. So and just to go back to these concepts, because we had a couple questions in each area. You mentioned
Yeah.
time, team, capital, and commitment. One great question, obviously team, that having a team behind you, a team with you is really critical. Like an IdeaPros team, you get all of the best of, you get marketing, you get product development, you get manufacturing, you get everything. So do you have any suggestions as far as team and how people can take that into consideration when, planning to be a success?
Yeah, absolutely. So while we do have all of that available in IdeaPros, you need to think of us, for people who are partnered with us, they know we're kind of the pre-operational partner, and we are counting on you to, number one, read my ebook, and then take all the courses that we give you through the ebook to really educate yourself so you know what it takes to run a successful startup organization. So it's never too early to find those one or two people that you might want to bring on board when you go live. Bring them into the conversation, show them what you're doing. Your trusted friends, people who can help just with the heavy lifting that's going to take place. The good news about today's environment is a lot of things that you do are done over the internet, so you don't need this big group of people to make things happen. You can do it with a very small team, but find a couple of people that you can trust, that want to work hard, and that are ready to help you when it's time to go live.
Great. Absolutely. So on the capital side, that's another big question. We get so many questions in our Q&A for the live, which we actually have a form that we put in the chat for you guys. If you do have
Right.
questions, you can submit them. We do answer them. One of the questions that we got on this one was, how much money should you have when starting up your business? And can you bootstrap it to get to that same success?
Well, you should have this much more money than you need. So, so it's a question that really doesn't have a great answer to it. So let me kind of go backward with this thing. So you have this pot, which is all the shares and the equity interest in this company that isn't anything yet, a product that doesn't exist yet, and that's your capital to be able to go out and get that kind of money that you need. In the very beginning, it's really hard because it's very conceptual, but that's where we typically partner with people at that conceptual stage. So right away, when you're one of our partners, then right away you've cut the amount of money that you need to raise dramatically, and so that's kind of a backward way to raise. You know, we're like a venture capital firm, except we provide stuff rather than give you money and then have you not do it correctly. So, but besides that, when you go live, because you're not going to need anything until you go live, but when you go live, you got to realize that no matter what you have, it could be a hot dog stand. We don't do hot dog stands, by the way, but it could be a hot dog.
Unless they're really innovative.
Yeah, I was just thinking of that. Maybe solar powered. But the point is, no matter what type of business you have, you need to let people know about that business, and that takes money, advertising, marketing. Once you start rolling, you're gonna feel comfortable in buying things in advance, right?
Yep.
But which you shouldn't do in the very beginning. So you're always going to need some amount of capital. You can do it several ways. Bring somebody in to give you $10, $50, $100,000, whatever it's going to take for a decent marketing budget, and give them a piece of the company. Or nowadays, if you have halfway decent credit, you can get a line of credit for the business. You can get inventory financing dollars for the business. There are several different vehicles for somebody to be able to have the additional capital that they're going to need to keep that engine running. Okay, it's just like gasoline in a car. You go to the showroom, you get a new car, it's full of gas, and you drive off and you're all fat and happy. If you don't have plans for how I'm going to get more gas in it, you're just going to be stuck on the side of the road, right? So
Absolutely.
think that it's a continual process, that success doesn't just happen by turning the lights on and sitting back and everybody shows up. You need to bring them to you. So how much do you need, and can you bootstrap it? I think so. How much do you need? I don't know. Can you bootstrap it? Can you bootstrap it? Absolutely. And
Right.
and in my ebook, it talks about how to do that. Of
Yes.
course, if you're not a partner, you don't have that ebook. Maybe we could take a section of that ebook out
Yes.
and do a blog on.
Yep, actually we are. We
Yeah,
have a blog. We have a blog because we do. We have lots. We have how much cash does your startup need? I just put it in the comments for you guys.
Perfect.
That's a good one. We also have one we've been on our docket for upcoming blogs is to talk a little bit about crowdfunding. We also have a whole spreadsheet about the different options, solutions available to entrepreneurs for getting money, and how it's a great example of like how things are, how it varies between
Right.
the types. Super venture partner, which IdeaPros is, versus incubator, accelerator, venture capital. So again, IdeaPros has so much information for you guys as entrepreneurs that are starting out on your businesses, or if you are an advanced stage and you're working on getting your product to market. I mean, it doesn't matter what stage you're in, we've got information for you guys to get you through the process. So I'm going to put 2 of those articles in the chat, and then we'll also obviously follow up with you guys about more. I know we have another article in there. So Odin, if you're on and you can find the other funding article that we have and put it in the chat, that would be awesome. But it's so exciting to watch IdeaPros. They put all this value out there, and they're really making these success stories happen It's not just pipeline dreams for people. It's really, really happening. And so the last part of your equation, if you will, was commitment. And you talked a little bit about commitment and being really dedicated to what you're doing. And so in that, is there more tips that you could give us as far as commitment?
Well, commitment is one of those things that you have or you don't have. Right? I can't tell you how to have commitment, but I can tell you if you don't, you might as well just pack it up and go home. So commitment is internal. It comes from waking up in the middle of the night and thinking, why haven't I done this yet? It comes from having to tell everyone you know about your great idea, and it comes from knowing that no matter what, if you have to bootstrap, if you have to sell equity, if you have to go to your parents or your neighbors or your friends or your boss and ask for money, you're going to make it happen. And that's what commitment's about. If you get a survey, a consumer survey, and the consumer survey says, hey, your product sucks, go make changes. There's a lot of things that you can do. You have to be prepared to pivot and not look at any of these obstacles as defeat. Look at them as opportunities, learning lessons. One of our listeners talked about failing fast.
Yep.
I'm glad she's been paying attention. Thank you.
Yep. I'm going to find her comment and put it up.
Throw it out there, and if it doesn't work right, then fix it and throw it out there again. And so commitment is this kind of day and night dedication to your dream, that you want to take your passion and turn it into something that people around the world will enjoy. And no matter how many roadblocks you have, get up the next morning and go back at it. That's what commitment's all about.
I love too. One of the things that I think is really important is having a support team, because commitment it's a long process. So you need a team and people around you that can support you in getting to that successful end game, right? So I know that IdeaPros offers that kind of support, but they also have what's coming out as far as the partners are concerned is a Facebook group designed for the partner. So being with other like-minded, industry, upcoming startup successes is really what it takes, right? So we need to work together. We need to help each other. We need to be promoting other entrepreneurial businesses too, because you have to be around the people that are in success so that you can be in success too. So that is part of the Launchpad. And did you want to talk a little bit about the Launchpad before we have to hop off today?
Yeah. So we did a soft launch last week of IdeaProsLaunchpad.com, and we've spent the last week fixing all of the little bugs and making sure that everything worked correctly on it. As we speak, I think we're there, like 95% of the way there. This afternoon, I invite you to go on board. We're going to start marketing it tomorrow. I believe we're going to start doing some marketing, and by the end of next week, we're going to have a bunch of social media influencers talking about it and getting people there. On the Launchpad right now, you're going to find 14 of our products that our partners have created with us, and it's really important to go on there and support them. You can't buy anything. You can go there and vote and say what you like, and you have an opportunity to get really big discounts when we go live with them, and also to win up to $5,000 just by putting in your email address and by having other people sign up using a link that we're going to give you, a special link, so we can monitor how many people you've gotten to sign up. So if you're a real entrepreneur, you help other entrepreneurs. I have 14 of them sitting in the Launchpad waiting for your help. So yeah. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, and that's really what last week we talked a little bit about going viral when you launch a product. So this all plays into it. We're showing you, we're walking you guys through how kind of a process, right? So you guys get to be there, experience everything with us. So next week, along the same lines of successful entrepreneurs, we are going to have an interview, like a quick little glimpse into a current partner and how they're experiencing the success that they're seeing and pick their brains a little bit on what they've learned in working with IdeaPros. And as always, please do visit us on IdeaPros.com, the blog at IdeaPros.com/blog. There's tons of information. And like our Facebook page. But you guys, thank you all so much.